This series was co-produced with HMP Berwyn and funded by the National Lottery Community Fund. Hello everybody and welcome back to Eternal Media's Recovery Hub podcasts. The series you're about to listen to was recorded in HMP Berwyn on the recovery wing and recovery factory. We were especially interested in how people recover in prison. It's something I could never do. And by working with the lads on the recovery wing and recovery factory, we thought it'd be a good place to ask how people recover in prison. We've been working with Berwyn even before they were built. We filmed the making of Berwyn and quite a number of films with them since. This project was especially close to our hearts though, because it was very much about recovery and how people can recover. We just wanted to create a free online version that people could use and listen to how other people are getting clean and staying clean. Even in settings like prison, people are getting into recovery. We wanted to hear from the men themselves how being on the recovery wing and working in the recovery factory was helping to support their recovery. I felt these conversations were really meaningful because people were sharing their experiences on where they've come through, what they've been through, and how they're getting clean and how they're staying clean. And by sharing that knowledge, it's just all bolstering each other's recovery. Anyway, see what you think, listen to them, and if you'd like to let us know your thoughts, please get back to us at hello@eternalmedia.co.uk and put Berwyn Pods in the subject line. What's coming up? What you'll find in this first episode of the series is what recovery looks like at all different stages. One of the men, Michael, was experienced with recovery as he actually worked in the field, and following a relapse was looking to cement a solid recovery to get back to his life supporting others in recovery. Others were younger, with varying degrees of experience with recovery. Like Jake, he was using his musical creativity as a means of supporting himself. And then there was Malcolm, who was struggling with his recovery because he still needed his prescription for medication for schizophrenia. Here's the conversation, and we hope you enjoy it.
Basically, how I got addicted is because I was boredom and lost all my family and all that shit, and it's not good to take drugs anymore. And it's good to be on the recovery wing to try and get you off of
that. 58 years of age, been smoking all kinds of drugs since the age of 11. Started using heroin and coke at the age of 15. Started smoking crack when it come out. In the early 80s, crack went around, it was just cocaine. Spent most of my life in prison. Done 20 sentences, spent 23 years in a cell. Recovery in jail is what you seek. If you seek it, you'll get it. If you look for it, you'll find it. If you speak to the right people and you're motivated to write to the right people with real rehabilitation inside, you'll get the right answers. My goals now for me is to try and sort my head out, get in the right place, and hopefully go back to Swindon, Wiltshire when I get out, and try and get into a rehab before I hit the streets so I can build ties with my family. You haven't seen my family for years because I've been on road, living off grid all over the country for the last 20 years.
I've been a drug addict for like 20 odd years, and I think what it's all about, all this recovery business, well, I'm grateful really. I'm thankful for this prison sentence because it's only during this prison sentence that I've had time to take stock, reflect, and think about basically where I've been going wrong. I asked myself a couple of questions like, why haven't I got no missus? Why haven't I got no kids? Why haven't I been abroad for like 20 odd years, you know what I mean, or done anything notable? Because basically I've been living from one fix to the next, and that has been my whole life. It's which I think is not just sad, it's rather tragic, like. And another question I ask myself for the future, and it's part of my recovery, is I ask myself, what kind of a man do I want to be? In my case, that means, do I want to be a deadbeat loser, waste of space, scumbag, who robs off his mum and that, or do I want to be like somebody who's the other way around, like somebody who wants to make a difference, a positive difference in society and that, like. I know I'm in prison, but I'm the happiest I've been for like 20 odd years being a waste of space.
I've struggled with addiction for probably, I'm 32 now, probably since I was about 15, but looking back it seems to go into my childhood as well, when I was a lot of obsessive behaviours and like being obsessed with like games or drawing or various stuff like that, and I think that could be a lot of where it comes from. Plus plus when I got all the drugs, it just sent it crazy, that sort of things, because they got a hold of me, and no, I just can't really seem to get rid of them. Although recently I have been doing a lot better, just trying to stay on the right track. I've found drawing to be a good help, as it takes your mind off things, and then when you see that when you've spent a night drawing rather than spent a night like smoking or whatever, that you've got actual results there, and it's not cost you anything. You're, if anything, you're making money, although it's not all about money, but yeah, and it gives you positive results as well.
I was clean for a while, for 6 years, and I used to work for the NHS as a service users rep for inclusion drug services. So it just proves it can be done. While working there, I learned a lot. From doing scripts with people, doctors signing them, one-to-ones. I relapsed. It was stupid the way I relapsed. I'm hoping to get back to somehow working with the recovery scene. I've got a chance. The probation officer said to go back to Swindon. I'm going to stay clean. I can get back to work with the recovery service back in Wiltshire. And that's hopefully my goal after, say, I get released, do recovery in jail. I'll get there, start working as a volunteer for the drug services again, get back working for the drug services. But it's worth it. It's a good thing, recovery. I've been there. I'd like to get back there. After when I relapsed, I just went right downhill. Low as low. Started living in the woods, living off grid, and I ended up in jail. And I hopefully, when I get out this time, I want to stay out. I've done enough jail. I'm 58. It's been taking drugs for 42 years, 43 years. I can't cope with it no more. I've got to know. I just need to do it this time. Not just I need to do it for me so I can be a dad for my kids, and a granddad for my grandkids.
There's sort of a queue for this wing that we're on. There's like a waiting list.
Because it was a normal wing, so now this has come into it, where if you want to come off drugs, you go onto that wing, basically, and then you just achieve it from there then. Like the staff are helping you in some ways, and that to keep your mind occupied. And
it's also a challenge, for the SLM workers. They're overworked. Like if this is a big prison. Sometimes you're waiting weeks to see SM workers. It's quite difficult.
My challenge is personally, because I'm a paranoid schizophrenic, we're more mental. I was suffering from mental ill health, and for about 12 months I wasn't right. I was delusional, upsetting people on the wing and that, like on the mental health wing, obviously. I used to be in a single pad, but since they put me in a double pad with a lad who's also schizophrenic, when I feel myself losing the plot, I'll run it by him, and he'll say, Malcolm, it's all is in your head, because I'm convinced it's not in my head. I can hear it as loud as daylight, voices and that, like. And I said, no, it is, trust me, it's in your head and that, and he will sort of like, he'll comfort me, you know what I mean, and listen to me, what my delusions are like. And I found that a great help, like, rather than being in a pad on my own. I haven't been mentally this strong or this sane for a long time. And that's part of why I'm in prison, for mixing the normal medication with drugs and alcohol, combined with losing the plot, like, and threatening people, like, threatening to kill people.
I'm looking at trying to get back into my music. When I was younger, I went to college for 3 years doing a music performance course, playing the guitar, and I'm just trying to get back into that.
so basically, the music's rehabilitating you,
Yeah.
to keep your mind from occupying by the drugs, innit?
That's it.
And
It is helping
you're
as
doing,
well.
You're doing bits and bats, aren't you?
Yeah.
Instead of hunting it down,
Yeah.
like, try and get it.
Instead of just wasting all your time seeking drugs or taking drugs, it's hanging around with friends who are into playing guitars and drums and stuff like that, and doing more so-called normal things, and trying to do things that are worthwhile rather than just dossing about.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I found what I did is I sat down and thought about, I've done nothing for like 20 odd years, so I wrote a to-do list of all the things I would like to experience or want to achieve before I pass away, like, and so that's what I did, like normal things like going to the movies, which I haven't done for 20 odd years, but also other things like broadening my cultural horizon, like going to a theatre or going to a West End stage musical or things like that, you know what I mean? Maybe learn a couple of languages. Even I've thought about something like sign language, so I could be an interpreter for the deaf and that, like, or something, things like that. And travel, like, I want to do as well.
Travelling sounds really fun.
But would you agree, boys? Or yeah, we have got it hard, though, aren't we? Try and keep off it and that, because there's more drugs in the jail than there is anywhere else.
I found it easy. As I say, depending on how badly you want it, you know what I mean? I was coming to work this morning and somebody said, "Oh mate, just smoke fish. Do you want any fish?" I said, "Jog on, mate."
Yeah, no, but I mean, no, to try and try and stay off it and that, like, but it is hard in a way for us though. But we have got his own minds to say no and that.
I think it's harder when you're out there.
Yeah.
I do as well.
It's easy when you're in jail, you know what I mean?
For some people, it can be quite hard in jail. You got these vulnerable people, like people with mental health issues, and they are trying to do their recovery, and they've got people approaching them saying, "You want to buy this? You want to buy that?" It's hard to say no in certain situations.
It all depends what stage you are, and it all depends how much you want it. Like, if you've wasted 20 years of your life, thrown 20 years away, then maybe you'd think the same as me. Like, but you know what I mean, I think it's easy. Depends how badly you want it. That's what I think. Like,
I tell people out there, yeah, that to basically just don't fall down to our level. But anyone that comes up and asks me out there, yeah, say like, "Oh, don't do that, mate, because you'll send you right down to Rocky Road." Do you know what I mean? Right down to the bottom. I've been there, done it. Take some advice off us and that.
there's a certain line I wouldn't cross. Yeah, I wouldn't do burglaries or anything. On the other hand, and in drug circles, I had a good name. Yeah, people could leave jewelry, drugs, and then even to the point where I got complimented once. I got told today I could leave £1,000 on the table. This drug dealer said, and he said I could go out for hours, and when I come back, I know that every penny of that'd still be there. That's all well and good, yeah, and yet I'll still rob off my mum. You know what I mean? So although I wouldn't do a burglar, I'll rob off my mum, and I know some burglars who wouldn't rob off their mum. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying I'm better than anybody. It's just that's just the line I wouldn't cross. Like, I still don't know why I've got a good reputation in drug circles, and I would rob off my mum. I still haven't worked it out. Like, I don't know. Is it because I knew my mum would forgive me? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm in recovery for basically anything really, mainly crack and heroin. I started off with cannabis when I was about maybe 12, 13. Well, I've gone right the way through from the barbiturates changed to benzos. Recovery is an hard thing really, and you got to be ready. You got to do recovery for yourself. You can't do it for no one else. You can't do recovery for your kids. You got to do it for yourself, so you're right for your kids.
Isn't addiction harder than recovery?
In recovery, addiction's hard and recovery's hard, and it's the same thing, and it's just tied with each other.
Best day in addiction is still worse than my worst day in recovery. When my gyro came through and my dealer was on and I could get, like free drugs, that is still harder than the life I have today. For me.
As soon as you get money in your hand, as soon as your money's in your hand though, innit, you're off, aren't you, straight to the dealer.
I agree, recovery is hard. It can be hard. And it can be as hard as you want to make it as well. But addiction was harder looking back. Addiction was so hard. Just that feeling when you open your eyes in the morning and think, fucking hell, I've got to do everything that I did yesterday again today. And that in your heart just sinks. And you wake up skin and you've got nothing and you're rattling. And it's like, I've got to do all that again today. That's hard. That Groundhog Day thing that we talk about. And my recovery was hard to get into, especially when I came out of rehab again, 5th, 6th rehab, and they put me in like a dry house, sober house kind of thing, and everyone relapsed in there, and like guy died. And then luckily I got a Nacro flat in town in Wrexham. I came in homeless, so didn't have anywhere else to go, so I stuck around. And everyone was using there as well. There was a chemist opposite and a park and a Salvation Army, so drugs were all around me. I had to find focus. So I had to find something I loved doing. I didn't know what I loved doing, so I had to go and volunteer loads of places to work out what the hell I liked doing, what I didn't like doing. That's how it worked out what I like doing, but recovery is hard,
Yeah,
especially when you don't know what you want to do.
what made me relapse? I used to work for Inclusion Drug Services in Swindon on Vicky Road, and we had the furniture clean out. There was 3 of us. But when we come out, the supervisor, he was locking up, and we come out, we found someone had dropped 20 of each in a bag outside the door.
So 20 heroin, 20 crack.
Yeah, found them. That's how we relapsed. I've been clean for about 5 years. I mean, we've made up. We've both been clean. He's been clean longer than me. I mean, we've made up. We found them. The first thing we done, you couldn't wait to get home to smoke it all. And we smoked it all in like almost a night. Stayed away all night and smoked it. That's how I relapsed. It's crazy.
It also just takes that one again, doesn't it?
Can I ask you, did you not think that might have been a test?
A test. We thought it was, but we checked it. We looked at it. We went into drugs for over 30 years. You know what crack looks like. You know what heroin looks like.
Did it even come across you? Did you see? Did the conversation even go get to? Or was it straight to it? Yeah, just.
When we found it,
Yeah.
I found it, and I showed me mate. I would just say Paul. I showed him it, and he was saying, "Nah, it can't be that." The brown was wrapped in dark skins, and the white was wrapped in white skins, and we knew no one was going to do that. And it was what it was. Like crazy.
Blow your head off after 5 years. They just blow your head off.
Well, the drugs these days aren't as good as they used to be, aren't they? I started using in the 80s. I started smoking heroin in 81. Then the drugs are just I've got crap as time progressed. The only strong thing you get now is basically the legal highs and the cannabis. The heroin and the crack and the cocaine, it's that chopped, it's rubbish.
Did you go straight back into addiction then?
Yeah, I was back in jail in about 4 months after that.
Was it worse at that time?
Well, every time you relapse, it gets worse, doesn't it? And then every time you relapse, you know, especially you've done rehab and recovery before, you know the consequences, so you just use more to try and mask that.
I remember being my last rehab, I was just furious that I was back in rehab. I was so angry at myself.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it, going through the same process. I've done Phoenix House Whittle twice. I've done Yeldall Manor in Hare Hatch, Reading, and I've done Gloucester House in Swindon, and I've done the few rehabs in jail. But it does get harder because you find that when you're in the groups, I've heard this before, I know all this. When you're out there and you relapse, you just want to use more. You just to take it all away, because you know where it's gone. It's going back down a road and you're going to fall down a pit. It's difficult.
How did you get into recovery again, man? Did you go to jail addicted again?
Yeah.
So that was the kind of intervention, that was it?
Yeah. And got out of here 10th of September 2021. I went straight back to Swindon, and day one I was using, and they put me in accommodation because of the COVID restrictions. I was in a hotel. There was about 20 in a hotel. Every single person was using in a hotel. And straight on release in a hotel. I knew basically everyone in there from jail, and so I had no chance. Has
anyone else had any clean time and relapse?
Quite a bit. Stopped from September to Christmas. I think it was 3. So this will be 3 Christmases ago. This one coming. I was with an ex-partner, but I was living in her house, and then I just decided to knock it on the head because she wasn't a user really, and I was injecting heroin in a toilet, and then she'd have a little go on the foil sometimes, and I realised that she'd had it for every day for 2 weeks, and I said if this doesn't stop, then it's going to get a grip of you as well. So I fucked it off, and then all it took was a mate ringing me because I was in a city where there was drugs were plentiful. A mate ringing me from a little town and just saying, "Oh, can you get me this?" And I just couldn't say no. He said, "I'll give you some for doing it," and I went and did it, and that led to sneaking around and stuff like that. And then I was back on it within about 2 weeks.
Did that land you in jail again?
Didn't actually land me in jail, no, but it ruined my relationship.
How did you come back from your relapse?
This is still on it. Yeah.
So you're coming back from that relapse now?
Yeah. This is a 3-year-old charge. What I'm in jail for now, this is a 3-year-old charge. So.
You're scripted?
Yeah, I'm on methadone, yeah.
And reducing?
No, not at the moment. I've just done a diazepam detox, a 14-week diazepam detox, because I was really bad on them for the last 10 years or so. My meth wasn't holding me when they stopped them, so I've just had my meth put up, waiting to get stable, but I've no intentions of getting back back into that lifestyle when I get out. No intentions at all. No, I'm going to stick to my music and that.
So you've got a creative outlet.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people in addiction are creative, because my bullshit was very creative. It's like, what's a lie if it's not creative? It's something that didn't exist a minute ago. And it's the only thing that's really changed. I got honest, and then kept those creative pathways and put it into something else. What about you?
I got out in December last year, and I stayed clean for like a couple of months. I made the mistake of moving from the approved premises in Bangor now with. They asked me if I wanted to move to the Place of Wyn in Wrexham. Because I'm from Wrexham, I said yes. Worst thing I could have done. Because up until that point, I hadn't even thought about it, you know what I mean? I was talking the talk, walking the walk. One day I've been paid from the dole and that. I've got a wallet full of cash on the little pinky and perky in my head saying, you know, go on, just have the one off. Nobody's going to know, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, if I go to somewhere, I can go to someone's house now and score within 10 minutes, you know what I mean? So I've crumbled, and bearing in mind that previously I didn't have one drug test. I've gone back to the hostel, and they reckon, they try to say, no, would you mind doing a random drug test? Random my house. They sensed that they've seen that I thought my behaviour was normal, yeah, but obviously it wasn't, so they've asked me to do a drug test. They've asked me, is it going to be positive? I said, yes. And my second mistake was listening to the lads in the approved premises, and they were saying, oh, class A's, you know, cracking gear, definite recall and all that, so I've absconded. Hence I'm back now doing my licence, like. And what I felt was just, not that I just let myself down, but the people that would actually given me like a smackhead crack fiend and the time of day, you know what I mean? I've let them down as well. That's how I felt like. Plus I felt like a dickhead, if I'm honest, like, you know what I mean?
You're pulling it back now.
That I was talking, I'm dead against drugs, blah blah, which I was for like several weeks. But since I come in February, I've been offered fish. I'm offered fish time and time again. I tell people to jog home, like, not interested, you know what I mean? If I can't do it in prison, I've got no chance when I get out there, you know what I mean?
So you're pulling it back now. You can't beat yourself up about letting people down and stuff. It'll just get in the way. You need to put all those thoughts behind you.
When you're letting yourself down at the end of the day, you're not letting anybody else down.
The things you did in your addiction, would you do them now?
No.
Exactly. So why do we do them?
It's like
Because we're desperate, right?
Mm.
Right. So if all the dodgy things that you did in your addiction wasn't your fault, weren't any of your fault, it's because you're addicted.
Can I just stop you there? I think it is your fault. You've still
It
got.
can't be your fault, right? I tell you, it can't be your fault, because all the dodgy things I did in my addiction wasn't my fault. And if they're not my fault, they're not your fault either.
I still think that you've got a choice. It might be a difficult choice, but I had a choice whether I robbed off my mum or I didn't. All right, I was addicted. I needed a fix. I could have gone shoplifting, or I could have got a job or whatever. I didn't have to rob my mum, but I chose to rob my mum because she was an easy target, and that's what I think. Like, we've all got a choice.
That guilt and shame just holds you back. I've done that. I've dropped off the whole family.
But it not only holding me back, it gives me the impetus to want to not repeat it and do something about it, because my mum's like 70 now, you know, and do I want to wait till she's dead and I'm still robbing off her and emotionally blackmailing her? Pointless crying tears then at a funeral when I've had the chance to do something about it, and I haven't done nothing about it, you know what I mean? Do something about it now while I've got a chance. Give her 50 quid and say, yeah, mum, 50 quid, go and have a pint, or, you know, some flowers or something, you know what I mean? That's where I'm at, like.
What's everyone's plan for when they leave?
Get a job in a warehouse somewhere.
Yeah.
Keep busy. Keep my mind occupied. Otherwise, I'd just hit rock bottom again. Because it's hard for us criminals to get a job, you see.
Organisations want lived experience now.
That's all you need, second chance. As soon as you got your second chance, then you're up and laughing, and aren't you? Your own house, basically, you need to provide then, can't you, for your family, and instead of robbing.
I'm going back to Swindon and speak to the probation officer. I've got a chance of being, she's told me That if it do well in recovery, I've got a chance of being a mentor for turning points in the probation services with addiction. And so I'm going to grab that.
You want to be a drug worker?
Yeah, I've worked for the drug service before.
Is that like a passion to help people in addiction?
Yeah, I know I've done it before, so I know I can do it again. And I've got the experience. I'm 58. I've got like over 40 years of drug use behind me. I've got the experience of being in prison. I've got the experience of outside, inside and outside. So to me, I've got the experience. So I might should help people with that experience if I can, especially young people, like people over 16, or young people that's just starting using. I'll share with them my experience.
That experience everyone's got is a commodity that you can use out there. People are looking for that experience. I get work because of my background. My enhanced DBI check, it's long. It's a lot of charges going back to my first jail sentence in 91. It's a bit of an icebreaker as well. I am everybody you want me to work with. So I kind of use my history, my past, as a positive, not a negative. And I just see it as universal balance, really. I used to give the police a lot of work. I used to give the jails a lot of work. I used to give NHS, hospitals a lot of work, and drug counsellors and probation services and all these organisations, drug services. They used to get a lot of work out of me because I was hopeless. And now they give me work. It's weird.
It's just weird how it's just turned table, isn't it?
Yeah.
Does it work better for you though, coming off it all?
I'd be dead.
Yeah.
My high in the end was like a snowball. If my eyes weren't going to the back of my head and I was having a fit, I thought I'd been ripped off. I resigned myself to that life. I did that. That's just me. Didn't think there was a way out. Didn't have this when I was in jail.
So what was your way out? What was the impetus to make you, want it badly enough? Like,
I'd had a lot of people telling me how to stay clean over the years. Screws stood at the back of the classroom teaching me out. A couple of old boys waiting for their time and waiting to, telling me how not to take drugs. I had drug counsellors telling me how not to take drugs. I had everybody telling me how not to take drugs throughout my life, right? But it wasn't until I went to a rehab that was entirely staffed by people in recovery, and they showed me how not to do it. Through example, through the lives they believe and where they'd come from. And I couldn't bullshit them, and I couldn't manipulate them, and their stories were worse in places than mine. And they lifted the guilt and shame off me that nobody else had done before. And it just allowed me to crack on with my recovery instead of sort of staying in the self-pity state where, oh my God, look at all this shit I've done, all this shit that's happened to me. It was like, yeah, fuck that. Just get on with it. And I did. And I was a very busy addict. Yeah.
You cannot manipulate it or not, and you get away with nothing. Rehab is run by all ex-users and they're all counsellors. You get away with nothing.
But they were living a life that their recovery was attractive to me. They had a recovery that I could physically see. In the town that I grew up in, you became alcoholic or you died. There wasn't recovery, probably still isn't. You had those choices, really. A lot of my friends died, a lot of my friends became alcoholic. But rarely did people kind of get clean and sober. But these guys were doing it, and I hadn't really seen that before, because I was only ever, in my world, I was only ever surrounded by people in addiction. So I never really got to meet people in recovery. So I didn't know it was possible. And now I was a very busy addict in my addiction, robbing and getting drugs and finding places to do them. It's not that easy in North Wales, really. It's not like living in a city. So you're double busy. Like I say, you don't get bank holidays off. You don't get Christmas days off. You don't get your birthday off. You're an addict 24 hours, 365, in my case, for 25 years. So I was busy. And then when I got clean, I was still a busy person. So I had to throw myself into something. And I threw myself into something that I'd previously enjoyed, which is making film. And then I got some amazing people around me. Lots of people are saying they wouldn't help me, can't help me. And I shouldn't be doing what I was trying to do, which was set up the company and the charity. And then I found some people that would help, because I have no credibility, so I had to use other people's credibility. And then all of a sudden, I had stuff in my life that I wasn't prepared to lose. And it's like that recovery capital, I think they call it, that when you're building stuff up in your life. Because when heroin was everything to me, everything, Like, nothing was worth more than heroin. Unfortunately, sad to say, my family included, like, just everything was less important than heroin to me. So I had to put things in my world that were more important, and that took a lot of things to put into my world. You know, on the craving for gear and whatever, it doesn't go, but the volume gets turned down a lot. Like, there could be weeks and months, if not half years, where I don't think about using. But every now and again, you know, sunny day, and I'll see the world feel, you know, kind of rose tinted stacks, and go back to my very early days after clubbing and using gear with my mates. I thought, oh, like you did, I can just do that one. Who'd know? And I have those thoughts every now and again. But then very quickly, it's like, fucking ridiculous. It's like, I use a little thing, like one of my little tools is to press the fast forward button and just have a look at the consequences that come with that decision. And I'm not talking rehab talk or anything, it's just something I worked out. Press fast forward. Okay, you use today, you'll get away with it. Use tomorrow, you probably get away with it. And my behaviour is very different on gear, and I don't really recognise it, but people would recognise it in me straight away. And then I'd lose everything, wouldn't I? I'd lose my family again, I'd lose my flat, I'd lose the job, the business, the chat, everything. They just go.
So can I say you've had to find something that gives your life meaning? And if you find that, you're halfway there.
We all need a reason to wake up in the morning and get out of bed. All of us need a purpose in life. It doesn't matter what it is. If you enjoy it, you're gonna have to find out what you enjoy doing, because you're all relatively, you know, young, and you've got a lot of years ahead of you.
Mine is because I've just had a boy, you see, and my bird said if you don't come off it all, you're gonna end up losing us both, and that's what's put me into an edge there. Because I'm 33 years old now. I've been on drugs for all my life, near enough.
When was the last time you enjoyed drugs?
When it first come out, it's chasing the buzz in it basically. As soon as you have the first crack, baby, it's like yes.
I look back, I never even enjoyed crack, really.
No, the first one what you ever have, though, it's like boom, it gets you. Then you're chasing that buzz again. And then it's like, where I'm getting the next £20 from, the next £20 from.
Yeah, and the things I do on crack that I'd never do on it.
Yeah, even on whiz and all, amphetamines, because I used to be a bad wizard. Just because it's a blocker for me in a way, because I lost so much, like my parent. I lost my mum and my little brother. So I used that to try and block that out, you know, to keep it out of it in a way.
You've got a lot going for you. You can all have a phenomenal recovery.
I found, because one of my drugs was amphetamines, I found myself becoming dangerous when I've been there one day, me and my brother, 3 days jacking up speed in my mum's house, and these little demons in my head saying, them two in there, my mum and my brother, they're not going to think, yeah, we've killed your real mum and brother, and we've cloned Nazi-fied imposters. So I said to my brother, I said, go in there, get me that photograph album so I can match those photographs of you and my mum. He smirked at me. I said, Kerry, you a Nazi? He made the mistake of smirking at me again. I've lost the plot. I've gone in the kitchen, got a 12-inch carving knife. I've gone to plunge him. He's dived on the sofa, run out the house. I've gone to slit my mum's throat here. And this is why I realised I can't take amphetamines again. Only the knife hit the door like that.
Jesus.
I was in the house sobbing my ass out. You've killed me real mum and my brother. Do you think I want to live? I said, the next blue-eyed, blonde-haired boy I come across, you fucking having it. And my solicitor come to see me. I said, hey Ross, are you a Nazi? He goes, no. I said, are you a sex case being blackmailed into working with the Nazis? He goes, no. I said, shh, shh, shh. He's telling me you can't hear that. You know, it was going out there. Like, he's just gone straight to the front of the desk and he said, he must have said something like, oh, this lad needs section. And like, he's not well, like, you know. So that's when I realised, you know, that I can't afford to take amphetamines, because if I lose the plot, like, I'm dangerous.
Yeah, you got a hell of a reason why not to do it. If you could ask a question about recovery, what would it be?
Where can I find help, people to inspire me and to associate? Because the only social circle I've ever known are drug addicts and pissheads.
So where can you find people to inspire you who are clean and sober? NA. Other mutual aid groups, SMART. It's a recovery network. We do it ourselves. We have to do it ourselves out there. You know, you can't rely on drug and alcohol, so they're not policing you 24/7. So, you know, these are organisations that are free and available in even on cruise ships, you can get a meeting.
You're asking about recovery. It's also the imprisoning recovery. I found out like every time I'm come to prison, the OMU and all that, and you know, like your wing officer, they say, you know, you got to do this, you got to do that, and if you know you're an addict, no, they're telling you to do offending behaviour. What's the use of doing offending behaviour if you've got an addiction? No, you got to tackle the addiction before you're tackling the offend. No, if you tackle the addiction, you're attacking your offending behaviour.
Because you're offending for the...
I told my Janine's, me OMU, said, I'm not doing no offending behaviour. Enhanced skin girls, I'm not doing them. I said, I've done them all before. I said, I've got an addiction. I said, no, what's the use to doing offending behaviour or an addiction? Because I'm not tackling the addiction. So therefore, I'm still going to be an addict and still going to offend. I said, I need to tackle my addiction to tackle my offending behaviour. And that's what they don't do in prison. No, like you got things thrown in front of you that doesn't make sense. No, I've got an addiction. Why do we need to do this? So I think the OMU and the governors or whatever, the staff of the prison, need to look at this. No, people are coming in with addictions and they're not being told to do the right course. Like my sentencing plan, when I see my OMU, was you've got to do this, you've got to do that. Nothing to do with my addiction. And I said, well, I'm not doing it. I said, no. I said, you won't get your Cat D. I said, I won't get a Cat D anyway. You won't get your HCC. And I said, I'm not entitled to HCC because I've cut her off. I won't get it. So I said, the only thing I work on is me addiction and my mental health, which has infected my addiction. And she agreed with it. I'm diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and it's left me to self-medicate. And that self-medicate's going to give me another addiction. So I'm thinking, why should I focus on my recovery if I'm self-medicating? Because I've got to self-medicate to control me mental health. But I'm still trying to focus on my recovery. And I'm finding it very difficult under them circumstances. I need recovery. I want my recovery because I've got children that I haven't seen. And I've got to be right for me to be there for them. But I'm just struggling on that side at the minute. But I'm still focused on me. I've got the NA books in my pad. I've got the AA book in my pad. I go to the NA when we get here. But I know I've got to do the recovery for me. I've got to be right for me to be right for anybody else. Because if I'm not right, I'm never going to be right. I'm not going to be the dad for them.
My addiction really at the moment is alcohol, which I find really difficult to beat. I think it's the hardest one to beat because it's so easy to get. Every time you go to a shop, you're paying your money for whatever you're buying in that shop, and right behind that person there's a load of alcohol on shelves looking back at you. You can buy alcohol legally, you know, night and day, really. I found that hard. So for me, prison has been a bit of a good fire break. You were born an addict. I think I was too as a child. I had things that I was really attached to. That it's a bit of a family joke. They're like things that if you took it out of my hands, I'd go mental. I really would go mental. And that sort of went in in my teens. And then I started smoking weed. You know, there's a party scene. It was like a social thing. I've always been an addict, you know. Everybody's got something different. Me, I like work. I like my garden. I like my dog. Going out on my bike. You know, everybody's different. Everybody's got a recovery road. There's no two the same. If you can find it, you're A, lucky, and you're B, you've been given a second chance by whoever above. So not everybody does.
If you haven't died, you've been given a second chance.
Yeah, if you're still breathing.
I feel lucky that I'm not drawn to alcohol. I think in addiction, because of the lifestyle, drug addiction is tougher because you lose everything, you become homeless a lot quicker, and it's a hard life. But I think in recovery, I'm quite in awe of alcoholics who recover, because I don't go in Tesco's and see smack on the shelf for 2 for 1. It's not by the tills at Christmas. You know, it's not in the face.
One recovery place just said, if you can get off the coke, don't worry too much if you turn to the alcohol a bit. And I thought, all right, as I did, got off the coke, and sure enough, hit the alcohol more and more slowly, you know, over about 10 years, trying to stop drinking a lot more, but hey, held things together. Then I thought, actually, do you know what? It was easy getting off the coke than I've been trying to get off alcohol. Huh?
Well, it's the people what are around me. You know, like me mates who's on the drugs and that. So now when I get out now, it's either choose me kid or choose me friends what are on that style. 500 quid a day I was spending on crack daily. You got £500 there, yeah, and it only lasts, what, 2 hours on crack and that, and then straight back out, you're earning another £500 straight off. And it's like, the end of it, how much I wasted in a week, that could have just done me a lifestyle, based it better. Like, give everything to my kid and that. I've been brought up with nothing, me, basically, nothing. Because I've chose drugs. But now as I'm thinking about it, if I could turn back time, I would do. Reverse it all. But now when I get out, I won't be touching no crack again, or amphetamines.
But you're just saying about moving places or something in recovery. I don't think that works. I relocated to from Birkenhead to Reading. Didn't really work. And then I relocated to Swindon, all around, and then there was Oxford, all around there, Marlborough. You're in recovery as an addiction. So you know what to look for, you know what to find, you know what to seek. You know, it's easy. Everywhere has got addicts. So no, you've got to do it for yourself. It's like, I've got my brother out there saying to me, this rest of your inheritance money, you can have it if you do rehab. And I'm thinking, okay, I'll do a rehab. And I'm thinking, if I'm doing a rehab, I'm not really doing it for me. I'm doing it for the rest of my inheritance. So it's a waste of time doing it. But now I'm thinking different. I need to do another rehab for me. And I'm thinking of trying to get in Gloucester House in Swindon. It's a good one. It's a 12-step programme. It's good. I've got a lot of support down there, more support than Birkenhead. I've lived there 12 years. I think relocation it'll work in the short term, but if you're not ready for your recovery, it won't work. But if you want your recovery, it will work. I've met so many people in recovery that's relocated that it hasn't worked.
Yeah, it's the easiest way to find new mates in a new town, innit? Yeah, I totally agree with that, bro. That's why I'm going back to my own town. Just because I know I've got friends there.
I always say, it's like, do you want to be me at my age? If you don't stop using drugs, you will. You'll be 58 years of age. You're 32 now. You don't stop using, you'll be like me, 58, in prison with an addiction. So you need to think, we're locked up so long, we're going to get bored. The first thing we're going to do when we get out is go and look for drugs, because we know when we go behind that door, we're behind that door for like 18 hours, something like that. So we're going to seek something, to seek a hit. So while we're behind our door, so they need to look at that. Let us out a bit more.
It's like this wing here now, yeah. Our association is now, because we're in this workshop now, yeah. We come to work all day. Is put association at night time for us. Us drug addicts, yeah. We can't just come off drugs just like that. Our days want us to do, like just come off it, just basically come off it. Because in a way, if you come off it dead fast, you're killing yourself. So basically, you slow it all down in stages, like cut it down a bit by bit. You can't just automatically just stop.
No matter what wing you go on, most of them people, or the majority of them people, will have some kind of drug addiction on that wing. So, boom, you're on there. You're mixing with them. Before you know it, boom, there you go. There's nothing there. And then you bit the bullet, haven't you? The same about the support. If you need more people like Marcus to come into prison, that's had an addiction, that knows about addiction, to work with us. If you've got people like that coming to prison, it's like I was in a Bolton prison in Bicester in Oxford, before I come here. And the drug workers there, most of them are in recovery, and they know how to work with you. They know what to do with you. And they've got more drug recovery workers. Yeah, you got like 1,000 lads, 2,000 lads. How many key workers? 10 key workers, 12 key workers. So it's hard to get seen. They need to focus on that. They need to focus that, like, the prison system's flocked with addicts. They need to focus on the addictions, not the offending behaviour courses. No, get your addiction. Maybe that wing there, it'd be a good wing. They should do it as like a rehab wing, if anything, a rehab wing, not a recovery wing, a rehab wing, a proper TC recovery wing. But if it was a proper recovery wing or a rehab wing, you wouldn't be like, the wing wouldn't be allowed to mix with the jail. You'd be focused on your recovery 24/7.
Yeah.
No mixing. That's
Yeah, no mixing.
key fucking thing.
Then you get no drugs coming on the wing, you get no drugs coming off the wing. Everyone be focused on recovery, they wouldn't be off their heads to do what they want to do. They'd be focused.
Here, you just like basically just get on with your work and that. You're not hunting for it, you're doing something, aren't you? Keeping busy. Like, there's something, it's like they're cutting things, you're keeping busy, and you're not thinking about like, where you're getting your spice from.
Thanks for listening to the first episode of the Recovery Hub podcast series from Berwyn Prison. In this first episode, titled Nights, what is it, Luke?
Of the Recovery Roundtable.
Listening to the guys talk about how long they've been on drugs and what they've been through, how some of them have ended back up in prison and relapse, makes me think how much I can relate to their stories. They all seem to have gained a lot of wisdom about themselves from relapse, and it makes me think maybe it's just part of the process of recovery, and if you actually survive a relapse, there's quite a bit of knowledge you can take away about yourself and into recovery. Groundhog days, which I can often forget about how bad they were, often forget how bad my life actually was. I was so relieved to be back in prison on my last sentence. I had a much better life in prison than I did in addiction on the streets. And I just couldn't argue with the logic around offending behaviours, and a lot of the offending behaviours were driven by the desperation of drug addiction. Rather than people being inherently bad, we're not bad people, we're just desperate people in addiction. I've been Marcus from Eternal Media, and I hope you come back for episode 2 where Manny, and you'll love Manny, speaks to a fentanyl overdose survivor seeking recovery.